Reasons for optimism for all 32 NFL teams. And ladies and gentlemen, that includes the New Orleans Saints. Okay, this is Pro Football Focus, PFF, some would say. PFF minus, some would say. I'm just kidding, guys. Come on, get it together. All right, so let's go ahead and hear what they have to say about the New Orleans Saints and the reasons for optimism.
The New Orleans Saints, you say hope on the offensive line is a reason for optimism. After drafting Kelvin Banks Jr. To now play left tackle for them, they get to move Talise Fuanga to the right side. Now Trevor Penning gets to be kicked inside. We know how.
Yeah, so the New Orleans Saints, it's interesting because one of the fastest possible ways that a team can be relevant or compete or whatever is to solidify the offensive line, to solidify the trenches. If you can run the football, if you have a good offensive line, if you have a good running game, that usually takes care of a lot of problems. Theoretically, the New Orleans Saints could have a really good offensive line, and not just a good offensive line, could have a young offensive line, a cheap offensive line, and all of that works wonders for an NFL team. So if nothing else, if Kelvin Banks works out, this is a two-part problem. Part one, if Kelvin Banks works out. Part two, if Trevor Penning works out. You are sitting there looking at this team, looking at a rookie left tackle, a second-year right tackle, one of the best centers in the NFL, and then all of a sudden, Trevor Penning, like a phoenix from the ashes, is now let's just say, an average to above average left guard. If that's the situation, the Saints can only be so bad. You cannot be the worst team in the NFL with a good running game and a good offensive line. It does not happen. Doesn't happen. So if that is the only thing that happens as far as like the optimism or whatever, we'll still be okay.
How good Eric McCoy is when he is fully healthy. If Cesar Ruiz is the weak link for you at the guard spot, I mean, I think that you're doing pretty dang good. So I agree with you. I think that this is a strong part of their team, maybe the strongest part of their team now, as long as those young guys continue to play well.
Yeah, there will be debates about the second-round pick, Tyler Shuck, and everything going on with their quarterback situation this year and beyond, but I think what they did with drafting Kelvin Banks Jr. with the 9th pick was the right thing to do, right? He was arguably college football's best tackle last year.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, everything else just kind of falls into place. Like, building inside out, is it the sexiest thing in the world? No, but it just kind of works. And if Tyler Shuck and / or Spencer Rattler do not work out, we just move on to the next one. But as long as you are insulating your offense with a good offensive line and the ability to run the football and the ability to chew up clock and crush the game, like, that's a huge deal, and it takes a ton of pressure off of Tyler Shuck and / or Spencer Rattler when they have time to throw. They can lean on the running game. They don't have to, they're not running for their lives. So it's kind of I guess it hasn't actually come to realization yet, but it is a bit underappreciated just how quickly this Saints offensive line can be relevant and can be good. It was 2 years ago. The Saints had the worst offensive line in football. 2 years ago. 2023, Alvin Kamara had probably the worst season of his career behind the worst offensive line in the NFL. It was a non-starter. It was 32 out of 32. And then quietly, with a couple of good draft picks and some potentially reorganizing Trevor Penning, this can be a real strength. And I'm not going to go so far as to say this will be the best offensive line in football or anything like that, but this can be not just serviceable, but like a unit of strength. And like I mentioned earlier, with it being a rookie and a second-year right tackle in Talise Fuanga, not only is it a unit of strength, but it is the building blocks of this team moving forward. You have those two tackles on rookie contracts. That's all you can ask for.
year. You move Fuaga back to the right side where that's where he played at Oregon State, right? Maybe Trevor Penning finds something at guard. You've got McCoy and Ruiz on the inside. It goes from being the worst pass blocking team in the league last year to this year. You go, okay, I can at least see the vision. I can at least see Kellen Moore's blueprint for what he's going to want up front here. Not going to be perfect necessarily because it's a young group, especially at tackle, but you're talking about, okay, I know what I'm building for the next 2 or.
Well, I mean, even like just this year, like it gives you an idea of what they're going to do this year, which is why I gave out that Alvin Kamara rushing prop, because we know what they're going to do. We know it's not like they have Chuba Hubbard, right? Like it's not like they have a rookie running back that we're just saying, yeah, I hope he works out. It's not like they have a free agent running back who, we don't know, we'll see what happens. We know what Alvin Kamara is. We know what he was last year. He's not like he's coming off of almost his first ever 1,000-yard season. He's not coming off of a 500-yard season where we have to wonder, like, is this the same Alvin Kamara? Last year, he proved everybody except me wrong. And he was just as dynamic. He was just as quick. He was just as good as he's ever been. And, there were multiple games where when I was watching it, I was thinking, just get the ball in his hands. Like that was the level Alvin was playing at last year. He was in that just get the ball in his hands kind of mode, where if that happens, if we get the ball to him, good things will happen. He's that good right now. Dump the ball off to him. Throw it to him, hand it off to him, whatever. Our running game, when everybody was healthy, was just incredible. Alvin is, it's a whole different video for a different day, but we've argued before that there isn't as much separating Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey as people would like to believe. And Alvin showed that last year, right? So you're bookending a good offensive line with a good running back, with a coach that wants to run the football, with an offensive mind that just won the Super Bowl by running the football. It is kind of a match made in heaven.
2 or 3 years here, and that's what you're looking at with the Saints long term. They have to get better in the trenches over the next 2 or 3 years, no matter who their quarterback is, or they won't succeed. The defensive line will catch up behind it. They're going to need to work on that in the next couple off seasons as well. But if they could solidify this offensive line, especially with this Kelvin Banks pick at left tackle.
Well, he made a good point about the defensive line. Yes, the defensive line is an issue, especially the interior, especially times 2, the running game, or the defending the run. That's a problem. But if you can put the offensive line to bed and you can say, all right, this is a good part of the team. We don't have to invest any more in this. It is what it is. We're good here for the next couple of years. Then all of a sudden you kind of do the same blueprint you did for the offensive line on the defensive line, where now you're using those first-round draft picks. Now you're throwing stuff at the wall. Now you're trying to see what works. And if it happens again, and they reshape this defensive line to exist, we know they can do it. We know they can take something that was worst and go to a strength. They just did it with the offensive line, right? So if this team can do that, and Mickey Loomis in one of his press conferences around the draft time, he said that they are aligned, no pun intended, but they are aligned that they want to build this team from the inside out. And they're proving it on the offensive line. You wonder what happens next if they, as far as do they do the same thing? We just go with draft picks, or do they find free agents, or how are they going to address it? But there's not a doubt in my mind that they can turn around the defensive line similarly. And in a couple of years, if you're sitting there looking at a really good offensive line and a really good defensive line, I know it's very easy to make this comparison because it just happened, but you do have to admit, there are quite, we're starting to stack up the similarities here between the New Orleans Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles. Not just financially, not just how they structure the deals, not just all that, but moving Trevor Penning to guard, a la Mekhi Becton, building the offensive line out, building the defensive line out next, all that it's starting to feel very similar. And, we're kind of wondering, what parts of Kellen Moore's past is he going to piecemeal together to build this identity for the New Orleans Saints? It seems like, at least right now, it seems like he's leaning very heavily on his most recent pass, which I don't blame him. He won a Super Bowl.
Then you really start moving into the future here with New Orleans.
For the New York Giants, I'm going to need.
Yeah, I feel great about the Saints, the offensive line. I mean, I think it's one of those things where I don't want to put I don't want to say, okay, well, we're done. It's good, no doubt about it, because we still have to see it, right? We still have to see him play. We still have to see Kelvin Banks. I mean, we still have to see how he does. And yeah, I would assume the 9th overall pick in the draft is going to be good, but it is what it is, right? We've seen busts before. So I have full faith in Kelvin Banks. I have full faith in Talise Fuaga because we saw him last year. I have full faith in Eric McCoy because we know how good he can be. And even if Trevor Penning doesn't work out, it is what it is. We move forward. But we're only a couple weeks away, 2 months away to be exact. We're 2 months away from seeing this thing in real time, in real games. So hopefully it works. And if it works, and that's something else too, ladies and gentlemen, this is, I've seen some people who are like, well, I'm going to withhold judgment until the end of this year. I'll go ahead and tell you this. You will know almost immediately if this offensive line is going to be a strength or not. You will know in week 1, game 1, you'll know. And we'll be talking about it. All right, good stuff. I think it is certainly a reason for optimism. Good stuff from the PFF boys. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.